The sun dipped low, casting long shadows across a humble dwelling. Within its walls, a widow was heartbroken. Her husband, a servant of God, had passed, leaving her and her 2 sons with a burden they could not bear. The house that once echoed with laughter, now trembled with fear. She sat by a flickering lamp, clutching her son's clothes. Debt collectors were coming, and her heart pounded. Not for herself, but for the children she might lose. In her desperation, she ran to the prophet Elisha. Her voice cracked as she pleaded, "My husband served the Lord, and now the creditor comes to take my sons." Elisha listened intently, his eyes filled with compassion. "What do you have in your house?" he asked. "Nothing," she whispered, "except a small jar of oil." A flicker of hope ignited in Elisha's eyes. "Go," he instructed. "Borrow as many empty jars as you can from all your neighbors. Don't borrow just a few." Elisha's words seemed strange. "Go, borrow empty jars from your neighbors. Many jars. Then go inside, shut the door behind you, and pour oil into them." Her mind raced. Empty jars? From neighbors who already pity her. Yet, something in his voice carried divine certainty. The widow, though perplexed, obeyed. She and her sons went from door to door, humbly requesting empty jars. Her neighbors, seeing her distress, readily offered what they could. Soon, her small home was filled with a collection of vessels, a testament to her faith and the community's compassion. Doubt lingered, but the prophet's words echoed in her heart. Don't borrow just a few. Then, she shut the door behind herself and her sons. She began to pour the oil from her small jar into one of the empty vessels. And then, a miracle unfolded. The oil flowed, and flowed, and flowed. One jar filled, then another, and another. The sons brought jar after jar, and each one was filled to the brim. The widow, her heart pounding with wonder, could barely believe what she was witnessing. The small jar of oil was not diminishing. It was an unending source, a testament to God's boundless power. "Bring me another jar," she cried. "There are no more," her son replied. And then, the oil stopped. Not a drop wasted. Not a soul left empty. In her obedience, heaven met earth. The widow stands before Elisha. She tells him what happened. Elisha smiles. "Go, sell the oil, pay your debts, and live on what remains." From emptiness to overflow, from despair to deliverance, the widow's obedience had unlocked a miracle. God multiplies what we surrender. Abundance flows where obedience lives. The story of the widow and the jar of oil is a powerful reminder that God multiplies what we surrender to Him. He takes our meager offerings, our limited resources, and transforms them into overflowing blessings. Abundance flows where obedience lives. When we trust in God's provision and follow His instructions, we unlock the supernatural power that resides within us. Like the widow, we must be willing to empty ourselves, to offer what little we have, and to believe that God can do exceedingly abundantly, above all that we ask or think.
In the silence of her sorrow, in the darkness of her fear, oh, it all whispers heaven's name. Lord, are you still near? When I pour it out, you fill me up. When I trust your word, you lift me up. From empty hands to rivers wide, your grace prophet, tears in her eye. My sons will be taken, my hope has died. He looks with compassion, his voice calm and sure. What do you have? Bring what is pure. From empty hands to rivers wide, your grace will never run dry. Overflow, overflow. In obedience, blessings flow. Only a jar, she softly replies. Then pour it out, the prophet cries. Door to door, she gathers faith. Empty jars in every place. When I pour it out, you fill me right. When I trust your word, you lift me up. From empty hands to rivers wide, your grace will never run dry. Giraffes whisper, oil flows free until heaven's plans, divine decree. Each vessel waiting, hearts aflame for God's abundance, right on name. Overflow, overflow. In obedience, blessings flow. When I pour it out, you fill me right. When I trust your word, you lift me up. The door is closed, the mother's faith, her sons beside. Mercy, heaven's dream. From empty hands to comes a stream. Your grace will never run dry. Overflow, overflow. In obedience, blessings flow. John after says, oil flows free until the oil's divine decree. She runs to the prophet, her heart aflow. Her faith became, kept flowing, blessings flow.
The story of the widow and the jar of oil reminds us that miracles often begin in moments of emptiness. The widow had nothing left, only a small jar of oil and a heart willing to obey. In that obedience, she discovered that God's provision is not limited by what we have, but by what we're willing to surrender. In our personal lives, this story teaches that faith is not passive, it's active trust. The widow didn't wait for oil to appear. She moved in obedience, gathering jars and pouring what little she had. When we take small steps of faith, we create space for divine overflow. This could be forgiving someone, starting again after failure, or trusting God with our fears. In the family, the widow's sons witnessed their mother's faith firsthand. Her obedience became their inheritance. Families thrive when faith is lived out, not just spoken. When parents model trust and perseverance, children learn that faith is a lifestyle. In career and business, God multiplies what we commit to Him. The widow's oil became her livelihood, a sustainable source of provision. In our work, integrity, diligence, and faith Driven decisions invite divine favor. When we honor God with our skills, He breathes increase into our efforts. The story also reminds us that community matters. The widow borrowed jars from her neighbors. Her miracle required connection. Collaboration and humility open doors that isolation never will. Sometimes, the vessels we borrow from others become the very channels through which God pours His blessings. What small jar do I have that I've overlooked? Often, our gifts, ideas, or resources seem insignificant until we place them in God's hands. Am I willing to act in faith even when I don't understand the outcome? Faith is about trusting the one who sees the full picture, just like the widow obeyed without knowing how the oil would multiply. How can my obedience impact those around me? Just as the widow's sons witnessed her faith, our choices ripple through generations, planting seeds of faith in others. In what ways can I invite God into my work or business? By dedicating our plans to Him, practicing honesty, and seeking His wisdom, we turn our work into worship. What empty jars in my life need to be filled? These jars may be areas of lack like relationships or dreams. When we bring them before God, He fills them with purpose, peace, and provision. The widow's story is about overflow. It's about the God who takes what's small and makes it sufficient, turning obedience into abundance.